Hi students, welcome to yet another video class of business regulation. In our previous class we discussed the concept contract of agency. This video is also the continuation of that topic, contract of agency. So today we are going to cover the topics such as rights and duties of an agent, rights and duties of the principal, delegation of authority, sub-agent, relationship between principal and sub-agent, co-agent, relationship between sub-agent and substituted agent, or relationship between sub-agent and co-agent. So first we can discuss rights and duties of an agent. An agent has some rights and duties. So first we can discuss what are the rights of an agent. A right of retainer. This is the first right. An agent has a right to retain the principal money until his remuneration and advances are paid. Or in other word, an agent has the right to compensate whatever the expenses are incurred by him due to the smooth conduct of the business of contract of agency. So an agent has the right to retain principal money until his remuneration is received, or he get the compensation regarding what are the expenses which he incurred for the smooth conduct of the business of contract of agency. Now the second right is right to receive remuneration. An agent has the right to receive his remuneration when he has done what he had undertaken to do, even though the contract is not completed. But here the notable point is an agent who is guilty of misconduct in the business of the agency is not get the remuneration in respect of that part of the business which he has misconducted. So those agents who have performed their business very well has the right to get the remuneration. Now the next right is right of lien. An agent has the right to retain goods, paper and other movable or immovable property of the principal received by him until the amount due to him had been paid or accounted. So an agent has the right to retain goods, papers and any other movable or immovable property of the principal for getting remuneration, or for compensating what he has done in that contract of agency. Now the next right is right of indemnification. An agent had a right to be indemnified by the principal against the consequences of lawful acts done in exercise of the authority. So this is also one of the most important right. Now the next right is right to compensation. According to section 225, an agent is entitled to claim compensation for the injuries suffered as a consequences or a want of skill of the principal. But he cannot claim compensation for the injury caused by his own negligence. An agent has the right to be compensated by the principal for any injury caused to him by the principal negligence or want of the skill. So here an agent has the right to get compensation regarding the negligence of the principal. But if the injury is occurred due to the negligence of the agent, he does not get the right of compensation. Only from the part of principal there is a negligence occurred, at that time he get the compensation. Now the next right is right to stoppage of goods in transit. An agent has the right of stoppage of goods in transit to the principal if the principal has become insolvent, or if he has purchased the goods either by using his money. So these are all about rights of an agent. Once again, an agent has some rights. So the rights are right of a retainer, right to receive remuneration, right of lien, right of indemnification, right to compensation, and right of stoppage of goods in transit. Now we can discuss what are the duties of an agent. Just like rights of an agent, he has some duties also. So the first duty is a duty to follow the instructions of the principal. He must follow the instructions which are given by the principal. This is the prime duty of an agent. Now the second duty is duty to carry out the work with care and skill. In other words, duty to act with the skill and diligence. He must do the work with the utmost care. If the agent does not work with a reasonable care, skill, and diligence, he must compensate the losses caused to the principal in respect of the direct consequences of his own negligence. So, it is the duty of an agent to carry out the work with care and skill. Now, the third duty is duty to render accounts. An agent is bound to render proper accounts to his principal on demand. He must explain those accounts to the principal and produce the vouchers in support of the entries. So, it is the duty of the agent to render accounts to the principal whenever principal is demanded. Now, the fourth duty is duty to communicate with the principal. In case of difficulty, it is the duty of an agent to communicate with his principal and get his instruction. Now, the next duty is duty not to deal on his own account. An agent should not deal on his own account in the business of agency. If an agent without the knowledge of his principal deals in the business of the agency on his own account, the principal may either reject the transaction or he can claim from the agent that any benefit which he received from that transaction. So here principal has two options. First option is he can reject that agency contract of agency, and otherwise he can claim from the agent to get back any benefit which he received from that transaction. Now the next duty is duty not to make a secret profit from agency. So here agent is not allowed to make any secret profit from the agency. Now the next duty is duty to pay the amount received from the principal. It is the duty of the agent to pay his principal all sum received on his account after deducting for his own claim. Apart from all this duty, there is another two duties are there. That is duty not to delegate his authority. An agent cannot delegate his authority to another person unless authorized or warranted by the usage of trade or nature of the agency. So, an agent is not allowed to delegate his authority to another person. Next duty is duty on termination of agency by principal's death or insanity. When an agency is terminated by the principal death or becoming of unsound mind, the agent is bound to take on behalf of the representative of his late principal all reasonable steps for the protection and preservation of the interest entrusted to him. So, it is the duty of the agent to terminate the agency by principal's death or insanity. So, these are all about duties of an agent. An agent has some duties regarding contract of agency. So, the first duty is duty in conducting principal's business or duty to follow the instructions of the principal. Then next is duty to act with the skill and diligence, duty to render accounts, duty to communicate, duty not to deal on his own account, duty not to make secret profit from agency, duty to pay the amounts received from the principal, duty not to delegate his authority, duty on termination of agency by principal's death or insanity. Now, the next topic for today's discussion is rights and duties of the principal. Just like agent, principal also have some rights and duties. So, first we can discuss what are the duties of the principal. So, first duty is duty to pay remuneration. It is the duty of the principal to pay the agreed remuneration to the agent, or if nothing has been agreed, a reasonable remuneration must be given to the agent. So, the first duty of the principal is duty to pay remuneration. Now, the second one is agent to be indemnified. It is the duty of the principal to indemnify the agent against the consequences of all lawful acts done in exercise of his authority. So, this is the second duty. Now, next duty is indemnify the agent against the consequences of the acts done in the good faith. It is the principal's duty to indemnify the agent for any compensation which he may be required to pay to the third party for injuries caused to them by his wrongful act within the scope of his actual authority done in good faith. So it is the duty of an agent, it is the duty of the principal to indemnify the agent against the consequences of the acts done in good faith. Now the last duty is duty to indemnify the losses for principal's neglect. It is the duty of the principal to compensate the agent for any injury caused to the agent by the principal's neglect or want of skill. So these are all about duties of the principal. Once again, principal has some duties. So the duties are duty to pay remuneration, agent to be indemnified, indemnify the agent against the consequences of the act done in good faith, duty to indemnify the losses for principal's neglect. Now we can discuss what are the rights of the principal. So the first right of a principal is to recover damages from agent if he disregards directions of principal. It is the rights of the principal to recover damages from the agent if that agent disregards directions of the principal. Now the next right is obtain accounts from agent. He has the right to receive all accounts from agent. Next is recover money collected by agent on behalf of principal. Principal has the right to recover all monies which is collected by an agent on behalf of principal. Next right is obtaining details of secret profit which is made by an agent and recover it from him. Now the last right is forfeit remuneration of agent if he misconducts the business. If an agent is misconducted the business, principal has the right to forfeit remuneration of that agent. So these are all about rights of the principal. Now moving on to the next topic, that is delegation of authority. Generally, an agent is supposed to perform his duties personally. A general rule is that a delegate cannot further delegate. Delegates non-protest delegera. That is the term, which means a delegate cannot further delegate. Once again, delegatus non-protest delegera. The meaning of that sentence is a delegate cannot further delegate. So generally an agent is supposed to perform his duties personally. He does not have the right to delegate his duty to another person. Thus an agent himself is delegate of his principal. He cannot further delegate his power to another person. According to section 190 of the Contract Act, an agent cannot lawfully employ another to perform act which he has expressly or impliedly undertaken to perform personally. However, in certain situations, a sub-agent may be appointed by an agent. So the situations are express authority from the principal. If an agent get an express authority from the principal, he can appoint a sub-agent. Where the principal has impliedly by his conduct allowed such delegation of authority. In certain situation, a principal has impliedly accepted by his conduct allowed such delegation of authority. In such case also agent can appoint a sub-agent. And then ordinary custom of a particular trade. At that case also agent can appoint a sub-agent. Nature of the work. Based on the nature of work, sometimes an agent can appoint a sub-agent. Acts which do not require personal or professional skill. Certain cases are there. In that case, there is no need or there is no requirement of personal or professional skill. In that case also agent can appoint a sub-agent. Then in certain situation there is an unforeseen emergencies are there. In that situation also agent can appoint a sub-agent. But in general rule, a delegate cannot further delegate, or an agent cannot delegate his work. He must do the work personally. But in these all these situations, agent can appoint a sub-agent. Now we can discuss the concept sub-agent. An agent appointed by an agent is called a sub-agent. Once again, an agent appointed by an agent is called a sub-agent. So, a sub-agent is a person who is appointed by an original agent, and a sub-agent is worked under that original agent. Now we can discuss what are the relationship between principal and a sub-agent. As I already told you that in general rule, an agent cannot delegate his authority to a sub-agent. But section 190 provide exception for that rule. And now we can discuss the relationship between principal and a sub-agent with the help of two heads. So the two heads are where the sub-agent is properly appointed and where the sub-agent is improperly appointed. Now take the first case, that is where the sub-agent is properly appointed. In that case, there is three effects are there. So the effects are the principal is bound and is liable to third party for the act of the sub-agent. So principal is solely liable for any act which is done by the sub-agent. So he is liable to the third party. Then next situation is where the agent is responsible to the principal for the act of sub-agent, and the sub-agent is responsible for his act to original agent, not to principal, except his fraud or willful wrong. So these are all about where the sub-agent is properly appointed. Now the second case is where the sub-agent is improperly appointed. The principal is not represented by sub-agent and hence he is not liable for acts of the sub-agent. So here principal is not liable because he is not represented by sub-agent, and that is why he is not liable for act of the sub-agent. The agent is responsible for the act of the sub-agent to the principal as well as the third party. Here agent is the only one person who is liable for the sub-agent to the principal and as well as the third party. The sub-agent is not responsible to the principal at all. Here sub-agent is not responsible for principal. Sub-agent is responsible for the original agent. So these are all about the relationship between principal and a sub-agent. Now the next concept is co-agent or substituted agent. Who is a co-agent or substituted agent? According to section 194 of the Contract Act, a substituted agent is a person who is appointed by the agent to act for the principal in the business of the agency with the knowledge and consent of the principal. Here the underlining point is with the knowledge and consent of the principal. So a substituted agent is a person who is appointed by the agent, but that appointment is with the knowledge and consent of that principal. And now we can discuss some important differences between sub-agent and substituted agent. So the first difference is based on control. A sub-agent is under the direct control of the agent, whereas a substituted agent works independently but he is under the direction of the principal. In other words, a sub-agent is the agent of the original agent as he works under the control of the agent. So here sub-agent is controlled by original agent, whereas a substituted agent is the agent of the principal because he works under the control of the principal. So substituted agent is controlled by principal. Now the next difference is based on responsibility. A sub-agent is responsible for all the acts to original agent and for the acts of fraud or willful wrong to the principal. On the other hand, a substituted agent is responsible to the principal alone. Now the next difference is based on contract. There is no direct contract between the sub-agent and the principal, whereas there is a direct contract between the substituted agent and the principal. Here sub-agent is directly contracted with the original agent, but substituted agent is originally contracted with the principal. Now the next difference is based on appointment. An agent appoints sub-agent only when he finds it necessary as per the customs of trade or the nature of the agency, whereas substituted agent is appointed by the agent when he has express or implied authority to do so from the principal. Now the next difference is based on liability. Sub-agent is liable to the agent, however substituted agent is liable to the principal. Remuneration to agent. The agent pay remuneration or commission to a sub-agent, but in case of substituted agent, the principal makes such payment. So, first case, agent is paid the remuneration, but in second case, principal is paid the remuneration. Now, the next difference is based on responsibility towards a third party. A principal is not responsible to the third party for the acts committed by the subagent, provided he has not been appointed by the consent of the principal. The principal is bound to all the acts of substituted agent in the same way and the extent as he is liable to the acts of his agent. So, responsibility in the case of sub-agent is goes to original agent, but responsibility in the case of substituted agent is goes to the principal. So, these are all about differences between sub-agent and substituted agent. Now, we can discuss the questions which is related with this area. So, the questions are: explain the rights of an agent, explain the duties of an agent, explain about the rights and duties of the principal, explain the concept of delegation of authority, who is a subagent, explain the relationship between principal and subagent, who is a substituted or co-agent, explain the differences between a subagent and a substituted agent. So, students, these are about today's discussion. In today's class, we discuss rights and duties of an agent, rights and duties of the principal, delegation of authority, subagent, relationship between principal and subagent, co-agent, differences between subagent and substituted agent. So, I hope all you get an idea regarding all these points. Now, it is the time for winding up for today's discussion. We can meet in our next video. Till then, bye, take care.